Today we are discussing how to gain weight and muscle while on a budget. So, in a perfect world, if we had endless amounts of money, we'd be able to buy everything we wanted, all the best types of food. We could have a personal chef make all our meals and fit all our macros, but that's unrealistic. So a lot of us have to budget. We only have a certain amount of money each month, but we also have goals that we're trying to hit. So this video is all about different tips and tricks, food sources that you should be adding into your diet to be able to maximize your grocery shopping in order to maximize your results in the gym. So today we're going to talk about the amount of calories and protein you should be eating to gain weight and muscle. I'm going to give you the best budget food sources for proteins, fats, and carbs. And then I'm also going to give you some tips and tricks on how to shop efficiently to maximize the most amount of food for your budget. All right, let's get going. So the first thing you want to do is know how many calories you should be eating. So we need to know this because if you want to gain weight, you have to be in a calorie surplus. A calorie surplus is when you consume more calories than what your body needs to function for its everyday movements, digestion, everything that your body does. So when you eat more calories, those leftover calories are going to be either stored as fat or as muscle, and that's what's going to make the scale go up. So just like I said, it's going to either store as fat or muscle. We want to make sure that is muscle. The best way to make sure that your calorie surplus ends up as muscle gain is to be eating an adequate amount of protein and also to be lifting weights. So we're not going to be talking about lifting weights today since this is all about food and budgeting, but we are going to focus on that protein. So calories and protein are the most important things for you to know how many you need to have before you go shopping. So how many should you have? An easy way to calculate this is to take your body weight, multiply it by 16 to 20. For most people, that should put you in a calorie surplus. As for protein, you want to try to hit at least 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. So an easy example would be if you weighed 100 pounds, 0.8 of that would be 80. So 80 grams. So if you weigh 200 pounds, that would be 160. So around 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. That will put you at a good muscle building growth phase as long as you are working out and eating the right amount of calories. All right, so now that you know the amount of calories you should be eating, how much protein, let's figure out where those foods are going to come from. When it comes to shopping for your food, we got to make sure that you're eating the right stuff and the healthy stuff, because you could easily just load up on the Fritos and the Oreos, chips, crackers, all like that to hit your calories. That's going to be easy, but it's going to make you feel lousy. Your performance in the gym is going to suffer. So you want to make sure you're giving your body the right nutrients that it needs. So let's start with protein. Protein can be expensive, but it can also be inexpensive depending on what you get. So, you're not going to be shopping for the expensive ribeye steaks, swordfish, scallops like that. You got to be smart with what proteins you get. So the most budget-friendly protein sources are ground beef. If you can, try to stay in the 85 to 15 range for protein versus fat. Ground turkey is a great source. Eggs are awesome for breakfast. Pork, chicken thighs are more inexpensive than chicken breast. You get a little more dark meat, you get a little bit more fat, so that's actually higher in calories, which is great. Also fish. So a fish like a tilapia or a swai are great inexpensive fishes that you can have that are high in protein. Additionally, protein powders. Find a protein powder that you like that is fairly inexpensive but with good ingredients. And if you're having trouble hitting that protein goal that you just calculated, having a scoop of protein powder with like a glass of milk is a great way to get extra protein in. Next up is carbohydrates. So carbs are awesome because compared to proteins and fats, they don't fill you up as much. So when you have this high calorie goal, it's easy to eat a bunch of carbs because it's not going to fill you up, and within a couple hours, you're ready to eat again. So carbs are your friend here. Load up on them and use them to your advantage. So some great inexpensive sources of carbs are rices. Doesn't really matter what type of rice you have, just do something you enjoy. So it could be white, brown, jasmine, whatever. Potatoes, all sorts of potatoes. White potatoes, russet, sweet potatoes, all great sources of carbs. Your breads and grains, so Bagels have always been one of my go-tos for easy calories. Regular bread, English muffins, hamburger buns, whatever type of bread you like, you can have that. Pastas, fruits, and even cereals. So with the cereals, you do want to be kind of aware of how much sugar is in them. What I like to do is, instead of eating a super sugary cereal like Lucky Charms, what I'll do is I'll take a healthier cereal, just like a basic Cheerio. I'll add a banana to that, so I get that healthy sugar, I get those added calories, and it still satisfies my sweet tooth if I want something kind of sweeter. So use these carbs to your advantage, because you can eat a lot of them without filling you up too much. The last of the 3 macronutrients is fat. So fat can also be used to your advantage, but also you got to be aware of a couple things with it. So fats, in relationship to grams per calories, 1 gram of protein and also 1 gram of carbohydrates is equal to 4 calories. When you eat fat, 1 gram of fat is equal to 9 calories. So you actually get double the amount of calories when you eat fat. So that's what I'm saying, is when you can use that to your advantage to help you hit your calories. On the other end of it, fat does fill you up faster, so you can't eat as much of it, so you just gotta be aware of what you're eating. Another somewhat downside of fat is that it is more expensive, especially when we're talking about shopping on a budget. Some great sources of fat would be oils, olive oil, avocado oil. Avocados are great. Peanuts, nuts in general, and peanut butter and nut butters. Great sources of fat, and those are going to be on the more inexpensive side, which is awesome. And also cheese and Greek yogurts, they do have some protein in them, but they also have high amounts of fat, and they're fairly inexpensive. So be aware of how much fat you're having. Also notice that you are going to be consuming fat from your protein sources. Like I said about getting an 85-15 ground beef, you are getting fat from that. So you do want to add some fats that are standalone healthy fats, but also notice that it is going to be a little bit more expensive than some of the carbs and proteins that you're buying. Let's get into talking about some tips and tricks. Now that you know what type of foods you need to get, you also know your amount of calories you want to be eating and the amount of protein. So let's talk tips and tricks. The first one is to shop the weekly ads. So we all get them in our mail every week. Most of us probably just throw it away, myself included sometimes. But it is good. It's a good idea to look at the local stores around you and see what's on sale, especially the proteins. If you can get a good deal on protein, just go there, stock up on it, freeze it. It's going to be more expensive up front, but it'll pay off in the long run. So it is going to require a little more work, will require some more driving around, since you're not going to be able to get all your groceries in one stop. But shopping the weekly ads is a great way to gain weight and muscle while you're on a budget. If they are in your area, and if you can afford it, a membership at a warehouse club such as a Costco or a Sam's Club are a great way to save money. You're going to be buying in bulk here, so similar to shopping the weekly ads, you're going to be spending more up front, but you're going to reap the benefits on the back end. So I shop at Costco. I love to go get my meats there. I can go there, and with one purchase, I can usually get my meats for 3 to 4 weeks. So I'm spending a lot up front, but I'm going to be saving all this money. All these places too just have all the carbs that you can load up on that are going to save you money. They have bulk oatmeal, potatoes, rices, big things of eggs. So if you can afford it and it's in your area, get a membership at a warehouse club and do your shopping there. Another tip and trick is to buy frozen. Usually frozen items are cheaper than getting them fresh, and they're gonna last longer for you. So an easy one is vegetables. How many times have you had a vegetable sit in the fridge and go bad? I can attest to that all the time. So buy your vegetables frozen. You're gonna save the money because they're not gonna go bad, and they're gonna be able to last a long time. Additionally, you can get some of your meats frozen and save some money there. Certain meats such as chicken, they might add some extra sodium or rib meat to it. But right now we're on a budget. It's not the biggest deal. So do what you have to do. So some great things you can do for buying frozen items would be chicken, fish you can buy frozen, breakfast sausages, any vegetables, berries, some fruits like that if you want to add them into your protein shakes, and also potatoes. So potatoes for dinner, you can get hash browns, all frozen, stock up on them. You don't have to worry about them going bad. And lastly, you don't want to forget about these small things. So these are items that you sometimes forget that you need, but they add up very quickly and can start being expensive. So these are your seasonings, your cooking oils and sprays, and your condiments. There's been many times where I go to the grocery store and I remember that I need olive oil, ketchup, salt, and then before I know it, I've spent like $20 when I didn't think I needed to do that. So similar to these other examples, if you can, buy these in bulk. They're gonna be cheaper, they're gonna last longer, then you don't have to worry about doing these add-on purchases every time you go to the store. To wrap up, now you know everything you need for gaining weight and muscle while on a budget. So now it's important that you plan ahead. Don't just go to the store now, sit down, make sure you've calculated your calories and your protein, go through your different protein, carbs, and fat sources, see which ones you like, see which one you wanna get. Make sure you shop your weekly ads, look through, see what's on sale and that what matches up with the foods you like. Look around and see if you want to get a membership sale, decide if you want fresh or frozen, and make sure you got all those small things that you would need in your house, like the seasonings and the cooking sprays. So with that, that wraps up this video of how to gain weight and muscle on a budget. I hope it helps. If you have any questions, leave a comment below and I'll be happy to answer them. See you later.